What if the letters hidden in your family's attic revealed that the water you've been drinking your whole life was poisoned by the very company that built your town, and your own father helped cover it up? Would you bury the truth to protect your child, or risk everything to expose the lies? Dive into the Whispering Oaks deception, a tale ripped from the shadows of real American cover-ups, where one woman's quest for answers uncovers a web of corporate greed, family betrayal, and deadly secrets that could destroy everything she holds dear. Buckle up, this is going to grip you tighter than a Midwest storm. In the quiet suburb of Oak Ridge, Ohio, where maple trees line the streets like silent sentinels and the air carries the faint metallic tang from the old steel mills on the horizon, Sarah Thompson's world began to unravel on a drizzly Saturday afternoon. The town, home to just over 15,000 residents, felt like a time capsule, neighbors waving from porches, kids biking down cracked sidewalks, and the distant hum of tractors in the surrounding cornfields. Sarah, a 32-year-old single mother with sun-kissed freckles and a no-nonsense ponytail, had spent the morning juggling her shift at the Rusty Spoon Diner, where greasy plates of eggs and hash browns paid the bills but barely covered the rent on her modest ranch house on Elm Street. Her 8-year-old son, Jake, with his mop of curly hair and endless energy, was downstairs glued to his video games, his laughter echoing through the thin walls as rain pattered against the windows. Climbing into the attic to sort through the clutter left by her late mother, Evelyn, Sarah wasn't expecting much. Maybe some old clothes for donation or forgotten Christmas decorations. Evelyn had passed the previous winter after a long battle with diabetes, her frail body finally giving out in the same hospital where Sarah's father, Robert, had died of a heart attack 5 years earlier. The attic was a dusty archive of their lives. Faded photo albums capturing barbecues and holidays, boxes of Jake's baby toys, and stacks of yellowed newspapers from the 90s. But as Sarah shifted a heavy trunk, her hand brushed against a worn shoebox tucked behind it, its lid secured with a frayed rubber band. Curiosity piqued. She pried it open, revealing a bundle of envelopes, their edges brittle with age. The letters were addressed to her father in a neat, unfamiliar script, postmarked from various Ohio towns in the early 1990s, the same era as the infamous minor spill at Vanguard Industries, the massive chemical plant that dominated the town's eastern edge. Sarah vaguely remembered the chaos as a child. Blaring sirens piercing the night, families evacuating to the high school gym for a couple of days, and then assurances from company officials that everything was fine. But these letters told a different story. Signed only with the initials LM, they were urgent pleas and warnings. The groundwater tests are irrefutable, Robert. Toxins are seeping into the wells, carcinogens that could linger for generations. If we stay silent, the blood is on our hands. Another referenced the accident, a devastating fire at the plant that claimed 3 lives, officially blamed on faulty equipment, but hinted at something far more sinister: deliberate arson to erase evidence of illegal dumping. Sarah's pulse quickened as she read on, the attic's dim light casting long shadows across the pages. Her father had been a loyal Vanguard employee for 3 decades, rising from assembly line grunt to shift supervisor, always preaching about hard work and providing for the family. He was the pillar of their community, coaching Little League, volunteering at church fish fries, and fixing neighbors' fences without asking for a dime. Why would he hide these? And what did they mean for Oak Ridge, where whispers of unexplained illnesses had circulated for years? Neighbors battling rare cancers, children like Jake struggling with persistent asthma that doctors dismissed as environmental allergies. Tucking the letters into her jacket pocket, Sarah descended the ladder, her mind racing faster than the storm outside. That evening, after putting Jake to bed with a story about brave explorers, she fired up her laptop in the kitchen, the glow illuminating her worried face as she searched for Vanguard Industries. The results were chilling. The company, now a subsidiary of a sprawling Cleveland conglomerate, boasted billions in revenue from pesticides and fertilizers, but online forums and obscure blogs painted a darker picture. Clusters of birth defects in nearby towns, tap water that sometimes ran cloudy with a chemical aftertaste, and former employees sharing anonymous tales of suppressed safety reports. No lawsuits had stuck. Vanguard's lawyers were sharks, but the rumors persisted like fog over the fields. Sarah leaned back in her chair, staring at the screen. Was this connected to her parents' deaths? Her father's sudden heart attack at 58. Her mother's rapid decline? The thought gnawed at her, turning sleep into a restless battle. What secrets might be lurking in your own family's history that could change everything? Have you ever uncovered something from the past that made you question your entire life? Share your stories in the comments. I read every one, and they inspire more tales like this. The next morning, fueled by a mix of dread and determination, Sarah decided she couldn't ignore it. After dropping Jake at school, where he chattered excitedly about a class field trip to the local farm, she drove her battered Honda to the plant's outskirts. The facility loomed like a fortress. Towering silos belching steam, chain-link fences rattling in the wind, and security cameras swiveling like predatory eyes. Parking at a rundown gas station across the road, she pretended to pump fuel while discreetly snapping photos on her phone. The warning signs about restricted access, the murky retention ponds that bordered the property, and the fleet of trucks hauling unmarked barrels. As she glanced up, her heart skipped. A black SUV idled nearby, its tinted windows hiding the driver. Was it watching her? Shaking off the paranoia, she drove home, but the vehicle followed for several blocks before veering away, leaving her gripping the wheel with white knuckles. Back at the house, Sarah confided in her closest ally, Mia Reynolds, the town librarian who'd been her friend since high school. Mia, with her wild curls, oversized glasses, and a wardrobe of cozy cardigans, was the epitome of practicality. She ran story hours for kids and helped elderly patrons navigate the internet. Over coffee at the library's quiet back room, surrounded by shelves of musty books and the faint beep of scanners, Sarah showed her the letters. Mia's eyes widened as she scanned them. "This is heavy, Sarah. Vanguard practically owns this town. They fund the schools, the parks. Digging into this could be dangerous." But she couldn't resist helping. Together, they pored over microfiche archives of old newspapers. The headlines from 1992 jumped out. Vanguard fire claims 3 lives. Investigation points to operator error. Buried deeper were mentions of whistleblowers accusing the company of skirting regulations, dumping waste into the local aquifer to save on disposal costs. And there was Robert Thompson's name, quoted in an article as defending the plant. Everything was by the book. No corners cut. The discovery hit Sarah like a punch. Why had her father lied? Mia cautioned her again. "You're not just anyone, you've got Jake to think about. What if this stirs up trouble?" But Sarah's Midwestern stubbornness kicked in. This wasn't just about the past. It was about the present, the future. That afternoon, emboldened, she emailed Vanguard's CEO, Victor Hale, under the pretense of researching family history for a scrapbook. Hale, a polished executive with silver hair and a reputation for charm-masking ruthlessness, had relocated from New York years ago to oversee operations. To Sarah's shock, his assistant scheduled a meeting at a quaint downtown coffee shop, the Beanery, where locals gossiped over lattes and scones. Hale arrived in a tailored suit, exuding confidence as he shook her hand. "Ms. Thompson, pleasure to meet Robert's daughter." He was a fine employee, loyal to the core. They chatted about the weather and town events, but when Sarah casually mentioned the letters and Hale's smile froze, his eyes narrowing like slits. "Some relics from the past are better left undisturbed. For the sake of your family and mine." The veiled threat hung in the air as Sarah left, her coffee untouched. Outside, she swore she saw the black SUV again, parked down the block. If you're as invested in Sarah's journey as I am, hit that like button now and subscribe for more edge-of-your-seat stories. Your support keeps the truth flowing. Share this with a friend who loves a good thriller. Let's build this community together. Tension mounted over the following days, turning Sarah's routine life into a pressure cooker. Her car was vandalized in the diner lot, deep scratches spelling out, "Stop," forcing her to borrow money for repairs. Jake came home one afternoon wide-eyed, recounting how a friendly man at the playground asked if his mom was being nosy about old stuff. Sarah's stomach churned. She rushed to install a budget security camera from the hardware store, its red light blinking reassuringly at night. Sleep evaded her, replaced by vivid nightmares of her father reaching out from the shadows, murmuring regrets about choices made for the greater good. Driven deeper, Sarah returned to the attic, rummaging through more boxes under the bare bulb's harsh glow. Amidst old tax returns and holiday cards, she unearthed a leather-bound journal, its pages filled with her father's familiar scrawl. Entries from the 90s detailed his growing unease. LM showed me the lab results today. The pesticides are leaching into the soil, could explain the sick cattle downstream. Vanguard promises it's contained, but I saw the barrels myself. Took the bonus to keep quiet. Evelyn needs the money for Sarah's college fund. Forgive me if this haunts us. Sarah's hands trembled, betrayal stung, but so did understanding. Her father wasn't a monster. He was a man trapped by circumstance, providing in a town where jobs were scarce. With Mia's help, they identified LM as Laura Marsden, a brilliant chemist who'd worked at Vanguard until vanishing after the fire. Official reports claimed she perished in a car accident en route to a conference, but no body was recovered, fueling conspiracy theories. Sarah tracked down Laura's estranged sister in Columbus, a 2-hour drive through flat farmland dotted with silos and billboards. In a cramped apartment smelling of chamomile tea and cat litter, the sister, weary but willing, shared photos and a hidden contact. Laura hadn't died. She'd fled west, assuming a new identity after death threats. She said the company was testing unregulated compounds, knowing they'd cause birth defects and cancers. The sister whispered. Your dad tried to help her expose it, but they got to him first. Armed with a phone number, Sarah called Elena from a burner phone at a rest stop, her voice shaking. Laura's story poured out. Vanguard had prioritized profits over safety, contaminating the aquifer with neurotoxins that explained Oak Ridge's health woes, elevated rates of leukemia, miscarriages, and respiratory issues like Jake's. Robert had accepted a hush-money payout but later regretted it, contacting Laura secretly before his heart attack. He was going to blow the whistle, Laura said, but they silenced him or tried to. Sarah demanded proof, and Laura promised hidden samples, stashed in a safe deposit box. Back home, doubt crept in. Was her father's death natural? Pulling medical records from the county office, Sarah spotted anomalies, traces of a synthetic toxin mimicking cardiac arrest. Murder? The implications terrified her, especially when her house was burgled that night. Drawers rifled, the letters gone, but nothing else stolen. Reporting it to the police yielded shrugs. The chief, a Vanguard crony who golfed with Hale, chalked it up to kids messing around. Isolated, Sarah reached out to Tom Reyes, a tenacious reporter from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, whose articles on corporate malfeasance had caught her eye online. Tom, in his late 20s with sharp features and an infectious enthusiasm, agreed to meet at a neutral park bench, away from prying eyes. Their partnership ignited quickly. Tom's legal hacking into public databases revealed Vanguard's pattern of settlements and suppressed EPA reports. Late nights at Sarah's kitchen table, poring over documents while Jake slept, fostered a bond. Tom taught Jake card tricks, his laughter lightening the heavy atmosphere. But danger lurked. A high-speed pursuit on winding country roads, the black SUV ramming Sarah's car until she veered into a ditch, escaping through tall cornstalks with thorns tearing at her skin. Breathless and bruised, she called Tom, who arrived to pull her out, their trust solidifying. Here's a question for you. In Sarah's shoes, would you keep pushing forward alone? Or bring in someone like Tom, risking more lives? Let me know in the comments. Your insights make these stories even more real. As revelations piled up, Sarah's memories of her mother shifted. Tom's financial digs uncovered Evelyn's Vanguard stock purchases post-fire. Hush money laundered as investments? The guilt might have fueled her diabetes complications. A slow poison from within. Then, the game changer. Laura arrived incognito, flying into Cleveland under cover of night. In a seedy motel room with peeling wallpaper and the hum of a vending machine outside, she laid out the evidence. Vials of contaminated water, internal memos proving executive knowledge, and a bombshell photo. Robert Thompson, alive and aged, in a nondescript background. He faked his death with my help, Laura explained. Staged the heart attack to go underground. Gather irrefutable proof without endangering you. He's in hiding, waiting to testify. Sarah reeled, emotions crashing like waves. Fury at the abandonment, joy at the possibility of reunion. Why not confide in her? To shield you from Hale's reach, Laura said. Vanguard infiltrates everywhere. Cops, doctors, even the mayor. The theme crystallized. In the heart of America, where small towns clung to fading industries, silence was a survival tool, but truth was the ultimate weapon. Sarah evolved from a weary waitress to a resolute warrior, vowing to dismantle the deception for Jake's sake and the town's. The climax erupted at Oak Ridge's monthly town hall, a packed gymnasium smelling of popcorn and sweat, where residents aired grievances about potholes and taxes. Sarah, Tom, and Laura orchestrated the reveal. Projecting documents on a borrowed screen, Sarah's voice steady as she exposed the contamination, the cover-up, and her father's role. Chaos ensued. Hale's hired muscle stormed in, shoving through the crowd, one grabbing Sarah's arm in a vice grip. Fists flew in the scuffle. Tom tackled an assailant. Laura shielded the evidence. Shouts echoed, "It's all lies," from Hale loyalists, countered by gasps from awakening townsfolk. In the melee, federal agents burst through the doors, tipped off by Robert, who emerged from the shadows, his face lined but resolute. "I couldn't stay hidden anymore," he told Sarah amid the arrests. Hale cuffed and snarling threats. Raids on the plant uncovered fresh dumping sites, linking toxins to over 50 deaths, including indirect ties to Evelyn's. The town erupted in outrage, lawsuits brewing like a storm. In the aftermath, healing began slowly. Sarah reunited with her father in a tearful embrace at her home, Jake shyly hugging the grandfather he'd mourned. Forgiving the past, she channeled her fire into a victims' advocacy group, quitting the diner to lead water testing drives and support hotlines. Tom stuck around, their partnership blooming into something deeper, a family unit forming. Oak Ridge, scarred but resilient, pushed for cleanup funds. The plant's operations halted pending trials. Hale's empire crumbled in court, a symbol that even giants could fall. But justice lingered incomplete. Appeals dragged on, reminders that corporate shadows were long. Sarah stood taller, her story a beacon. In the face of deception, one voice could spark a revolution. Phew, if the Whispering Oaks deception left you breathless and thinking about the hidden truths in your own backyard, smash that like button, subscribe for more riveting tales, and share this far and wide. Your engagement uncovers more stories like this. What would you have done differently in Sarah's place? Drop your thoughts below. Let's discuss.